I'm 26 and my sister is 15. Our parents died in a car crash 4 years ago, and since then, I have been her legal guardian. It's been tough. I went from a single man, freshly graduated, great job, for a single person's income, and complete freedom to having to take care of a grieving child while I was grieving myself. I make enough for us to get by, but not much more. My sister came crying to me today. She admitted that she's pregnant. She said they didn't use birth control, but he pulled out. Apparently, it's some kid in his class. I comforted her, told her it was going to be okay and that we'd get through this. Then she dropped a bomb on me. She wants to keep it. She wants to raise and nurture it and give them the childhood she never had. I told her she can't be serious. She's way too young to care for a child. Hell, she's too young to get a job in most places. That if she keeps the child, I'm the one who will be bearing that responsibility. Sure, she can make minimum wage, but at least where we live, it's simply not enough to get by, and I'm simply not in the place in my life where I can afford to take care of another child. She told me that she doesn't expect me to be the parent, and I told her that it didn't matter what she expected. The bottom line is that as her legal guardian, I'm the one who will be responsible for the child, by law, until she turns 18. That I'm the one who'd be awakened to a 3-month-old throwing a tantrum at 3 a.m., regardless of what she expects. That I'm the one who's going to have to babysit when she works or goes to school, because there'd be absolutely no way she can afford an external babysitter. She then got angry and said, "Well, I'm keeping it, whether you like it or not." I told her she very well can make this choice, but then I'd have to make my own choice, and that I will no longer be her guardian. I'd give her up to our grandparents. They're very strict Christian and would have no problem forcing her to give her kid up for adoption, then making her life a living hell for all this. It's the reason she begged to live with me over them. They're not great people. She's been distraught, telling me I'm a horrible person and that she hates me for trying to force her to give away the one thing she loves the most. I tried comforting her. I know she's going through crap, but I just can't raise another child. My life was already put on hold when my parents died, and another halt when I had to take care of my sister. I just can't afford, financially or emotionally, to take care of another kid I didn't ask for. I just can't. And I don't want to either. Am I being unreasonable to want her to not keep the baby and send her off to her grandparents if she chooses to? Not the idiot, but it's not your call or responsibility who the new legal guardian is. Sister can ask for emancipation, which the court might well grant under these circumstances. If you're in the US, she is probably entitled to survivor benefits through Social Security, which would help with the finances. Or she could ask to go into foster care or find a guardian on her own. Would be no idiots here if she would name the father, but she is the idiot for implicitly expecting you to pay in father's stead. Not the idiot, you've already sacrificed so much of your life for her sake. She has no idea what she's getting into and can spout all the stuff she wants about you not having to raise her kid. It's a lie, and you won't just be raising her kid until she's 18, she'll probably want to go to college. It's also gonna take her time to get settled and find a job if she graduates. Don't feel guilty, it's okay to put yourself first. Your ultimatum is completely fair. Not the idiot. She has no idea what kind of struggle is in her future. I know from experience, I got pregnant at 15 as well. I barely made it through high school, and I had both my parents, the father of my child, and my oldest sibling helping me the whole way. Finances and child rearing aren't the only problems she will face. I can guarantee she will slowly lose a lot of her friends. She will always feel as though he missed out on her childhood or teenage years. It's not easy juggling school, work, and raising a child. She can forget about having a life of her own for at least 3 or 4 years. I'm a big guy. I'm 6.11, currently around 470 pounds, and I powerlift. I live in a small community where we happen to get a lot of tourists during the summer months. I was out pushing my son in his carriage on a fairly scenic trail that can be traveled by both motorists and pedestrians. I came to a turn in the road when I seen a couple, who I find out aren't from here, standing outside of their car, which had its back end hanging off the side of the path, the rear tires hooked on the curb, and rocks off the side. Wasn't dangerous, it's a tiny 5-foot hill they got stuck on when trying to back up, but it happened in such a way the car was good and stuck. I went over and asked if they needed help, and we talked about the situation. I walked down the hill and looked at the way they were stuck and figured I could probably just muscle it enough to free the back tires and get it back onto the road. I told them this and asked if they'd stay with my son while I tried. The guy starts protesting, telling me he doesn't want me to hurt myself, saying he already planned to call someone and that I didn't have to bother. She tells me that it'd be a great help and that if I don't mind she had no problem with it and would appreciate it. So figuring the guy was just being courteous, I assured him it was no imposition and started down the hill while she stood with my son. The guy follows me down, insisting I don't bother and it's fine, and that I really shouldn't. I repeatedly assured him it's fine, and then jokingly say I already got her hopes up, I don't want her coming after us. He goes quiet and goes back up the hill. I brace myself and get the back tires up and the car securely over the embankment. She starts whooping and clapping, gives me a quick hug, and thanks me. She asks if she can take my photo, and I agree and pose kneeling down by my son in his carriage and giving a thumbs up. He asks her if he can thank me privately, and she gets back into the car. I offer my hand and tell him he might want to go to a garage in case, and that I hope he enjoys his trip and he doesn't go for a handshake. Instead, he tells me I humiliated him in front of her and that I had no business showing him up like that or taking a photo. I apologize and tell him I had no intention to embarrass him, and he tells me I should have listened when he refused my help and that as a man, I should have more respect than that. Now that I reflect on it, I can see his point. No guy likes being made to feel small in front of his partner, and he did tell me no thank you. I can see why her cheering would hurt his pride. I'm wondering if I crossed a line by not listening. Not the idiot, I'm going to take this to another level. You have a problem and along comes this guy pushing a child in a stroller and he lifts your car so you don't have to wait for a tow truck. So to summarize, a guy is really strong and is comfortable enough to care for his son in public. He knows what's important in life, caring for a child while still taking care of himself physically. Obviously a great catch. I'm not surprised the other guy felt threatened, but it's still a weak move to whine at a stronger person. Not the idiot. I am nowhere near as big as you, 6'3", 250 pounds, and I would have told you not to worry about it, mainly because if you did get hurt I wouldn't want to be responsible. But if you walked over and muscled the car out of the ditch I would have been insanely impressed and probably yell out holy crap. I would not feel emasculated, and if my girl said something my response would be something like, well, yeah, this guy was 7 and like 400 pounds, he was built like a goddamn tank. Compared to him I look like a freaking anorexic hobbit. Not the idiot, because it wasn't your intention to humiliate anyone. You just wanted to help out. I carry a battery jump box in my car and offer to help when I see someone with a dead battery. I'm not there to shame them for not being able to do it themselves. In retrospect you realized why he was upset and are understanding of that, so that makes you even less guilty. Obviously he's a bit insecure and you must have struck a nerve. And yes, it most definitely sounds like a humble brag. But not the terribly annoying kind, so it's all good in my book. Keep on helping people. My daughter is 16 and will be 17 in August. In September, I'm going to move her across the country because she will be starting college at a very good school. She skipped a grade, graduated high school a year earlier than her peers. Last week my daughter graduated high school. We packed up her room, the essentials, from her mom's house. We divorced, as she won't be going back to live there. We're going straight from my house to her college dorm. A few days ago, my daughter asks me for a ride to my friend Tony's house because she is getting a tattoo. I was surprised because she never mentioned this to me before. It was definitely framed to me as if this was already approved, she just wanted to go with me to get it done. We stayed up all night looking at designs, coming up with colorways or shading, and deciding on location. The next day we went to Tony's and she got a small 2x4 tattoo above her ankle. I've known Tony since high school, he's been a tattoo artist for 20 years. I completely trust everything he's associated with when it comes to tattoos. He even did my first tattoo when we were in high school. The entire experience was actually a blast for me. I haven't felt that close to my daughter in years, we really bonded over the whole thing. To see the guy who gave me my first tattoo also give her her first made me shed a tear. Of course the next day she posts pics online and her mom flips her crap. She calls me screaming about how irresponsible I am. I honestly didn't know her mom wouldn't be okay with it. She has tried her hardest to cut me out of all decision making about daughter, so the norm is they make the decisions amongst themselves, and I'm just sometimes along for the ride and to pay. She's also cut me out of multiple milestones in daughter's life. Graduations, performances, games and so. Until daughter was old enough to tell me directly, I was never invited, so I missed a lot of moments. Obviously, daughter was aware of this, which is why she simply stated to me I'm getting a tattoo instead of asking me. I definitely reprimanded her for misleading me, but otherwise, what's the big deal? Ex-wife has been okay with her having love life since 13, picked her own high school and college, is fine with her moving across the country in a few months to attend and live by herself. Why are we acting like she is not capable of deciding this on her own? Would it be better if she gets it done 5 months from now from some strange kid doing tattoos out his dorm room with used needles? Mom is livid. She threatened to call the police. Threatened to pick up daughter and bring her back to her house. Tried to make me take her to get the tattoo removed. None of this is happening. A culture was created in which I don't get input on things regarding daughter. The culture was created in which mom allowed daughter to make decisions for herself. Am I the idiot here for not double checking with mom that a tattoo is okay? Not the idiot. It was a bad thing for your daughter to mislead you, but it's a tattoo, and this is 2019. People act like they're the mark of the freaking devil. If she's adult enough to go to college, she's adult enough to make decisions about her own body, especially since, as you said, she's been making decisions about her body from a young age. Her mother needs to chill out. It happened. The police aren't going to care. Getting it removed is asinine. Should you have checked in? Probably. But it's done and I'm glad you and your daughter had that moment. You're the idiot. Well, maybe A is a bit harsh, but I say this as someone covered in tattoos. 16 really is too young. It doesn't sound like your daughter got something stupid, but the mindset of a 16-year-old is still very young for permanent ink in my opinion. I get the well she would have done it anyway argument, but I don't know, just seems a bit of a bad choice. The other A is Tony, definitely shouldn't be tattooing a minor as a professional artist. The stuff with a mum, no idea. I can see why she is pissed off at you though, she probably sees it as irresponsible parenting. You're the idiot, tattooing a child is illegal and classified as assault. Furthermore, you took her to your friend's house, unbelievably unsanitary no matter how long he has been doing it, and not a professional studio meaning you knew this was wrong. Her mum has a right to be mad, you allowed your daughter to get a permanent mark when she hasn't 100% stopped growing yet by a guy she doesn't know at his house. I only hope your daughter doesn't get an infection. I am a person who when 17 got a tattoo in someone's house by a professional. Regret that tattoo so freaking much. My partner, 30, and I, 29, live in a building with dozens of apartments. As soon as we moved in about a year ago, our next door neighbors immediately started harassing us over every little thing. There's a leak and it must be us. Something's wrong with the electrics, it must be us. There is a noise, must be us. They have complained about how loud, often and long we take showers, they are bothered by how loud our AC is, they have questioned us about how many people actually live in our apartment after we had some friends over, and so on. I thought they were just crazy annoying old people at first, but a couple of months ago, I overheard them in the hallway and they used very colorful language to talk about us. So instead of continuing to walk on tiptoe and turn off the AC and not have people over, we decided to make love audible. We only do it before 10 p.m. and quietly enough so that it's not an actual disturbance to other people, so they can't call the cops on us. Our bedroom, living room and bathroom share a wall with this couple's apartment, so they can probably hear us wherever we decide to do it. We talked about this to several of our friends, and everyone accused us of being idiots. Our friends think we should have called someone as soon as they started bothering us, but seriously, who? The police. The old people's home. And tell them what, a couple of 70-year-olds are bullying us. Anyway, our friends think we should stop doing it. But since we've been doing it, not only do the neighbors not complain to us anymore, they don't even say hello. We consider our problems to be solved at the low price of loud love. I get that it's obnoxious and embarrassing, but so far, diplomacy, smiling, compromises, or fighting with them hasn't worked. Besides, we're not making love much louder than at our old place, where the isolation was good enough not to be heard, so we're not being extra nasty. I don't know, are we in the wrong here? Should we stop? Not the idiot. I don't get people who choose to live in shared spaces like apartments and expect to have complete silence and solitude to the degree that you want to be unaware that other people exist. I have a crappy, inconsiderate idiot neighbor who has zero regards for neighbors and is best suited for life on a farm in prison. He is part of the reason I am moving out at the end of the month. I would love to send him their way and let them experience a real crappy neighbor with no regard for shared spaces. If all else failed, good on you for finding a workable solution. Not the idiot. It seems like all old people have a problem with young people living near them. Seriously, our downstairs neighbor in our one apartment literally had an issue with us walking around in our own apartment and having conversations. We were quiet people. If you live in an apartment, there is going to be noise. If you don't like it, get a house in the country. And she threw a fit about me wearing shoes down the stairs. She thought I was purposely trying to make her life hell, when really I didn't care. I was just going to and from work and out with my friends. I'm 28, girlfriend is 27. She has a 2-year-old with her ex, 28. They have joint custody. I own my own house, she has an apartment, he has an apartment. We've been dating for 7 months. My house is closer to the daughter's daycare than my girlfriend's apartment. So I offered to her to hang out at my place, and then we'd all have dinner together a couple of nights a week. Whenever the girlfriend doesn't have her daughter with her, nightly dinners are usually a thing anyways, so instead of 4 times a week, it happens every day a week. And I don't mind. The problem is I get home from work about 2 hours after daycare is over. So she spends those 2 hours playing with her daughter in my living room, giving her a snack, etc. I'm getting tired of the snacking, because her idea of snacking is giving her a bowl of Cheerios or crackers, or whatever. The bowl inevitably gets toppled or spilled onto the floor within 10 seconds, and the daughter smooshes them up, leaving crumbs everywhere. The girlfriend doesn't clean it, and I have to clean it when I get home. But sometimes I don't catch it all, especially when she decides to smoosh cookies into my couch cushions. I've started to get ants localized in my living room. I've never had ants before, and I worry about what's next. Cockroaches. Mice. I warn her to be more attentive to her daughter and if she makes a mess to clean it up. I even bought her some bowls that suction cup to my coffee table, so it at least prevents a mess, but she doesn't use them and doesn't clean up. I told her the nuclear option is coming, no more daughter at my house until she's capable of being cleaner, and the girlfriend says I'm punishing the child for something she can't control. I'm not punishing the daughter, I'm punishing my girlfriend. If she won't clean up the mess her daughter makes, then I don't want an opportunity for the mess to occur. The daughter isn't the issue, the girlfriend is the issue, by not cleaning up or being attentive enough. Well, it happened. I banned the daughter from coming here after daycare. This puts pressure on my girlfriend because if she wants to have dinner with the 3 of us here, she needs to travel 40 min home, wait until I get home, and then another 40 min here. This isn't the only time, but money. She called me an idiot for making the life of a single mom harder, but she dug her own grave. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I have a small daughter who often snacks around the house. I bought little cups that have lids that she has to stick her hands inside to get a treat. However, she can still smush them in the carpet, my couch, under doors, in the dog's mouth. All this to say, from someone who runs after a small baby all day, it's not that hard to clean up after them. I don't have cookies on my couch, I don't think that's ever happened, frankly. The point is, your girlfriend doesn't respect your space, and that's a problem. I wonder how bad her apartment looks if she can't even pick up a few Cheerios. Everyone's the idiot here. You got into a relationship with a parent, kid's gonna be in the equation no matter what, and if they can't be responsible for their kid, you should know this isn't going to work, so break up. I don't know what you're thinking is going to happen if she doesn't get a hold of her kid. If you keep dating, it's gonna get serious. If it gets serious, you're going to be moving in together. If you move in together, the kid is going to make a mess in your place. Also, people who get into relationships with a parent should be able to expect a parent to know how to parent.